When it comes to choosing the right game, the MMO genre can be very overwhelming. But hidden among the giants, there are a few free-to-play gems. Today, we're going to take a closer look at 5 MMOs that you can start completely free. And these 5 are absolutely worth your time. I made sure to include only titles that have a healthy population, solid gameplay, and fair free-to-play modalities. So let's start with number 1, Rift. Now is probably the best time to start Rift. A huge community project on the US server Deepwood ignited the spark again and tons of players returned to Telara. Rift features a classic tap-target combat system and was initially designed to be a WoW competitor in 2011. It took the core concept of World of Warcraft and added flexible class design and open world events to it. With a currently huge increase in player numbers, dungeons, raiding and open world events feel alive again. On top of that, Rift is very well playable free-to-play, with only minor restrictions on the auction house, backspace and some other quality of life features. Next up, Neverwinter. Other than Rift, Neverwinter has an action combat system, and it is set in the D&D universe in the Forgotten Realms. It is pretty decently populated for a 12-year-old MMO, and you can find groups for group content at any time. You can play it on console or on PC, and it features dungeons, story campaigns and a wide variety of zones and settings. In comparison to other MMORPGs, the leveling is a little bit different here. It doesn't happen by gaining experience, but you level up with certain story milestones. This is supposed to recreate the feeling of having a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. Another rather unusual feature to mention for an MMO is that the zones are not interconnected, but they are zone hubs. So this game does not have the classic open world look and feel, but feels more like a session-based MMO. But every session you jump into feels meaningful. If this does not sound like the MMO for you and you prefer a little bit more classic approach, Lord of the Rings Online could be a smart choice. As you would expect, it is set in the well-known Tolkien universe Middle-earth, and it features many famous characters and zones, from the hobbits in the Shire to the dwarves in Moria. It is the oldest MMO in this list and is still going strong. The publisher Daybreak recently updated their server technology to 64-bit on a large scale, and they even have an upcoming expansion ahead. This indicates that the game is heading in the right direction, and players will not face a shutdown or even maintenance mode in the near future. In the current situation, where big titles like New World get cancelled, this is a blessed situation to be in as a player. Compared to many newer MMOs, Lotro is very slowly paced, and it has a huge emphasis on world building. The leveling phase really takes a lot of time, which makes the game really feel like a journey more than a checklist. Nevertheless, it is still an MMORPG, so in the endgame you can also tackle group content, raiding, and even PvP if you fancy it. It has a cash shop and also an optional subscription. These include mostly cosmetics and quality of life features that make your life in Middle-earth easier. In summary, after all these years, Lotro still shines and has a loyal player base, and more importantly, loyal developers. From one big franchise to another, next up is Star Wars: The Old Republic, short SOTOR. It is a very solid MMORPG with a huge story focus and a player base even a little bit bigger than Lotro's. What really makes SOTOR unique is the very rare feature of fully voiced quest dialogues. There are really beautiful storylines, both on main and on side quests, and all of that professionally voiced. And even if you are not really into MMORPGs, this also makes it a great free single-player game. SOTOR features a tap-target combat system that feels very fluid. The game world, which includes planets and space battles alike, feels immersive, but you really have to like the science fiction setting, which is not everyone's cup of tea. Most players, including me, prefer a classic medieval or high fantasy setting. But if you like both Star Wars and MMORPGs, it's a must play. As all of the other entries in this list, Star Wars: The Old Republic has an item shop and an optional subscription. If you subscribe once, you unlock a preferred player status, which lets you keep all the content you unlocked with the subscription and just takes away the convenience features. Especially for playing the neatly voiced single player campaign, The free-to-play version of the game will keep you occupied for dozens of hours, and it is totally worth it. For the last title in this list, I thought very long about whether I should include it or not. But here we are. Guild Wars 2. The reason why I initially did not want to include it is because on paper it is free to play, but the free to play modalities of Guild Wars 2 rather make it a trial version until you own the first expansion. As a free to play player, you miss gliding, mounts, raids, most endgame zones, and quality of life features like auction house features. But because of the horizontal progression system, even the vanilla Guild Wars 2 content, which includes all of Central Tyria, is still viable. This means that fractals, dungeons, and some endgame zones can be played totally free and still have players roaming them. Especially fractals and dungeons, which are endgame content, can provide tons of fun for newcomers. And if you like it, you can still upgrade with an expansion anytime. If they are on sale, they are pretty cheap by now. If you decide to get an expansion, I would highly recommend starting with the Heart of Thorns and Path of Fire package, because these provide great zones, gliding and mounts, as well as raids to keep you busy for a long time for a very low price. Guild Wars 2 offers a really fluid action combat system, flexible class builds comparable to Rift, and a beautiful open world with a slightly cartoony look to it. I played it for years and I do not regret a second of it.